Health and safety legislation refers to laws, regulations, and standards designed to protect workers, the public, and the environment from harm in workplaces, public spaces, and industrial settings. These laws ensure that organizations prioritize safety, reduce risks, and create accountability for preventing accidents, injuries, and long-term health issues. The primary goal is to eliminate or minimize risks such as workplace injuries, exposure to hazardous substances, and long-term health issues. For example, OSHA in the U.S. mandates safeguards like machine guards, personal protective equipment, and hazard communication protocols. Employers have obligations to provide safe working conditions, training, and equipment, conduct risk assessments, and implement control measures. There are penalties for non-compliance, including fines, lawsuits, or criminal charges for negligence, such as violating OSHA standards. Globally, examples include the EU Framework Directive 89/391/EEC, the UK Health and Safety at Work Act 1974, and the Canada Labour Code, Part 2. Health and safety legislation encourages organizations to adopt proactive safety practices, such as regular safety audits and employee training, and reporting near misses and hazards without fear of retaliation. Legislation empowers employees to refuse unsafe work and demand protective measures. It sets minimum safety requirements for equipment design, workplace ergonomics, fire safety, and emergency procedures. An example is ASTM F2413-18 in the US, which specifies standards for safety footwear. Businesses are required to identify hazards and implement controls like engineering controls, administrative controls, and personal protective equipment. There are special provisions for vulnerable groups, including young workers, pregnant employees, and people with disabilities, particularly in high-risk industries like construction, mining, and healthcare. Health and safety legislation also provides economic and social benefits by reducing costs from workplace injuries, boosting employee morale and retention, and preventing environmental disasters. Key legislation varies by region, including OSHA standards and ANSI/ASTM guidelines in the US, EU directives in the EU, the Health and Safety at Work Act 1974 in the UK, the Work Health and Safety Act 2011 in Australia, and the Canada Occupational Health and Safety Act in Canada. Enforcement includes inspections by authorities, incident investigations to prevent recurrence, and whistleblower protections for employees reporting violations. Health and safety legislation saves lives, reduces suffering, and ensures businesses operate responsibly. For workers, it means safer environments and recourse in case of negligence. For employers, compliance avoids legal penalties and builds a reputable, sustainable operation. An example in practice is a construction worker wearing ASTM-certified safety shoes mandated by OSHA, avoiding foot injuries from falling objects or punctures, and a factory following lockout/tagout procedures to prevent accidental machinery startups during maintenance.